Bien, on a la chance de recevoir le professeur Jeremy Rifkin, l'économiste américain bien connu. Je ne sais pas si il va y avoir un retour. Est-ce que Jeremy Rifkin est avec nous? Allô?
Hello.
Hello, Jeremy Rifkin.
Hello. It's so nice to be with you and all my friends in France. Hello. Good day.
Well, we're very, very welcome for you, your presence with us. We see your new book, Planet Aqua, just behind you in your office. So the question, we are discussing today at ACT50, which is the European Forum on Ecology. We are managing and for La Tribune. We would like to listen to you about the aqua, the water cycle, and what is going to happen to us on this little planet. What do you imagine for the future of our hydrology and the consequence for our lives?
Well,
5 minutes.
Let me start off with this thought. What if we were to wake up one day, all 8 billion human beings on this planet, and we looked around ourselves and we had no identifiable markers that we were used to, as if we had been teleported to some other part of the universe? That's what's happening right now. All over the world, people are frightened to death. They do not understand the world they're in. We're experiencing these great atmospheric rivers and massive snowfalls. We had 6 feet of snow just recently in parts of the United States. Then in the spring, we're getting flooding across every continent, ecosystems being wiped out with massive floods. Then in the summer, we get droughts for months and months at a time, and then heat waves of 100 to 120 degrees Fahrenheit. And then we get the wildfires, and finally hurricanes and typhoons in the fall. What's happening is this. Our planet is rebelling. And what's happening now is that we are paying the bill for 6,000 years of the wrong way of approaching the planet we live on. It began way back in Mesopotamia, 6,000 years ago. They began an experiment. And that is, they were successfully growing grain, but they needed more water to feed a rising urban population. So they began to sequester the hydrosphere of this planet. They built the dams and the dikes and the levees and the artificial reservoirs as if they could sequester an entire water planet for the use of urban hydraulic civilization. And then it spread to Indus Valley of India with the great rivers, and the Yellow River in Yangtze in China, and then the Kumar civilization in Southeast Asia, and then later the great Roman Empire, and finally in Mayan America and in the Inca South America. And it all climaxed in the last 2 years with the great hydroelectric power dams and great artificial reservoirs of the planet. And here's what's happening. All of that's collapsing in real time, the entire infrastructure of the planet. Why is it happening? It's happening because of emission of fossil fuels. We have dug up the burial grounds of a previous period of history, the Carboniferous era. We took the dead remains in the form of coal, oil, and gas, and we used those to propel the modern way of life, the industrial age, the age of progress. We have spewed so much CO2 and methane and nitrous oxide into this atmosphere with fossil fuels, they are blocking the sun's heat from getting off the planet. So here's the issue. This is the most important thing to know. For every 1 degree Celsius that the temperature rises on this planet from global warming emissions, the atmosphere is sucking up 7% more precipitation from the oceans, the lakes, the streams, the rivers, the soil, the plants, the trees, soaking that evaporation into the clouds. More concentrated evaporation, more concentrated precipitation in the clouds, and wild water events. The huge snows in the winter, the summer drought, the spring droughts, the summer wildfires, the heat waves, the wildfires. And our entire civilization now is in an extinction event. And our scientists say we could lose over half the species on the planet in the lifetime of today's children. So here's the problem. We got a wake-up call in 1972. Now, you may be old enough to remember this, I'm sure. In 1972, our Apollo astronauts were going to the moon. And as they approached the moon, one of the astronauts took a little home camera and shot a photo of our planet from outer space. It shocked the world. We thought we would see a beautiful green planet in all the various verdant shades of green, a land planet. What we saw was a beautiful blue planet in all the shades of blue, a water planet. And then 3 years ago, the European Space Agency said, guess what? We live on a water planet, planet Aqua. Then NASA, our space agency, said, yes, we live on a water planet. And that hydrosphere of this planet is now rebelling. And it's deciding a whole new way of life and how it'll be organized from an ecological point of view in millennia to come. That's the problem we're facing.
Thank you. May I interrupt you for one other question? You are well known in France because you work on the fourth industrial revolution with the region Hauts-de-France. You worked on the REV3 new way of managing the development of the region. Do you still believe that the technology progress could help us to find solution for the planet?
Well, absolutely, yeah. We worked with Hauts-de-France for 10 years in deployment, and it's the poster child for Europe. The reason it worked and was successful is this, and I want to back up for a moment. Every great economic paradigm shift in history brings together 4 different technologies that emerge at a certain point in time to create an infrastructure that changes the whole way we organize our economic life, our governance, our economy, everything. What are they? Number 1, new communication revolutions. Number 2, new energy regimes. Number 3, new mobility and logistics. Number 4, the big one, new ways of organizing the waters that we work with, because it's the hydrosphere that determines the lithosphere, the atmosphere, and the biosphere. So how does this affect Hauts-de-France? So what happened there is they originally asked if we would do a plan for them, our global team of industries, and we said no, because it'll end up as a pilot project, and that'll be it. And they said, is there anything we can do? And I said, yes, you go back to Hauts-de-France and you line up all the industries, the chambers of commerce, all the mayors, all the universities and high schools, and you will make the plan and we will help you. And generally, they don't come back to other regions, but this region came back and said, look, we are the industrial region of France. We are the Rust Belt. We need a new plan. Thousands and thousands and thousands of people were engaged in this plan over 10 years. And now it's the poster child of a 3rd industrial revolution that brings together the communication internet, the solar and wind energy internet, the electric and fuel cell transport and mobility internet, and now the microgrid water internets. And that's changing the way Hauts-de-France operates, and hopefully that will be, if you will, a poster child for France and the rest of Europe.
My last question in 2 minutes, because we are short of time. You predicted the end of work with AI. Do you still believe this is something could happen one day?
Well, I think it's we need to understand what AI can do and what it can't do. It's we're going to use some AI for research and education, but the primary use of AI is going to be for infrastructure. That's what hasn't been understood by the high-tech companies yet. And that is, we will need AI to bring together the communication internet, along with the energy internet, where millions of people are producing their own solar and wind. Then we have to bring it together with the mobility internet, where millions and millions of players will have their own electric vehicles and hydrogen fuel cell vehicles. Then we have to bring it together with millions and millions of water microgrids. You need AI, if you will, to be able to establish these distributed infrastructures across France, Europe, and the world. And I remind you, Europe is the most endangered continent in the world for climate change. So we need to move to what we call a bioregional governance. And you know what? The only place that has it in all of Europe is France and Spain. You have a bioregional governance to deal with these climate issues that brings together the Pyrenees, Occitania, Catalonia, and the Balearic Islands. So France has shown the way toward a bioregional approach to governance, where we cross political boundaries and address climate change and create the new jobs, the new industries. They're there. We need to scale them.
Thank you, Professor RIFKIN. Thank you to have been with us tonight.
My pleasure.
I hope we will see you soon in Paris, maybe. Thank you.
Thank you.